I'm here with Horrible Dolphins again.
Just back.
Cheers. Hi. Nice to meet you. Hello,
Yeah,
listeners.
we've never met before, have we?
I'm Aaron. This is Lily.
Lily.
Angry Aaron and
Luscious Lily. Pleased to meet you again.
Cheers.
yeah, I was on the house, by the way.
Whose house?
That's what you give all
My
all
house.
guests.
You've just dropped an album again, a new
Did
one.
we?
Oh, on the internet.
Yeah, you didn't really tell many people about it. You just sort of
Yeah, but that's our
Released
promotional machine working at full capacity there.
Mm.
yeah.
We didn't tell anyone about it.
No,
means
you didn't take my
means we
advice.
did our job.
Yeah.
We didn't tell anyone about it because we set a
Set like a release.
we set a
date.
release date, but we had no guarantee that would be the date of release because we just sort of guessed.
Yeah.
And so we didn't want to be embarrassing ourselves by saying, "Hey, check out a new album on Sunday the whatever,"
Yeah.
and then it's like
It's
comes
not
out a
there,
week
just-
later.
Yeah.
Oh.
I mean, you could probably get away with that though. I don't know many bands that
Yeah.
could, but maybe you
Yeah,
guys could.
yeah. You can always blame it on the punk thing, can't you? It's punk.
It's like, isn't it? Yeah.
Threw you a curveball.
It
Yeah.
is true though, because
I
the
didn't wanna
first
say it,
album
but
that
yeah.
happened. The first
Yeah.
album we wanted it to be released probably sooner, but it took ages, didn't it, with the
Yeah.
distributor to actually get up. So
Mm.
that's why I didn't want to chance it.
I can hear your boots creaking.
Again,
Oh.
that happened last time, didn't it?
It's because they're not.
Party
It's because they're not
boots.
leather.
Oh, shut up.
Are they fake?
They're vegan ones.
They're vegan. They're not.
Vegan boots?
We don't use the F word.
What?
They're not
What?
fake.
Yeah, they're
They
fake.
are vegan.
Real DMs.
These, yeah. How many cows were killed for that?
3.
No.
Get over it. Shot on myself.
No animals were harmed in this video.
Is it filming?
Yeah.
Bermuda Triangle. It from my angle.
Right. Where were we? Album.
Yeah.
Yeah, the new album came out recently. It's called Skive to Survive.
Mm. Why did you call it that? There were so many other names that you were sort of throwing out there.
Seagulls are trainers.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
that for
Seagulls
one.
and Trainers,
yeah.
yeah.
I was kind of disappointed when it wasn't that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's
In
like-
hindsight, why didn't we call it that?
Yeah, I forgot about that.
I think you said in the previous interview you said it might be too confusing with Horrible Dolphins.
Yes.
Seagulls and
Yeah,
Trainers.
yeah.
I did, yeah.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, I did. God, yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe like we'll change our band name.
Mm. Well, that was going to be the cover band, I think.
But,
Seagulls
yeah.
and Trainers were going to be
Yeah.
the Horrible Dolphins cover band.
And we can be the cover band, just back to front. I can
Yeah.
play drums and I can play guitar.
Skive
Yeah.
to Survive, we just called it that because we live in a garrison town and it's an army saying. So
Ah.
it's just, and people from Essex say it sometimes. when
So I did not know
when you're
that.
getting away with something a bit cheeky at work and you're like, Skive to Survive, mate, sort of
Oh, okay. Well, that's
stay
cool.
under the radar,
Yeah.
which is exactly what we want, really, isn't it?
Yeah, that's sort of what we do.
Stay under the
Just
radar.
never be discovered.
Yeah,
I don't even want any listeners. I don't.
No one's listening to
I
this.
was gutted.
This is-
I just.
No one's listening to this.
No, no one ever does. No.
This is just like for your personal.
It's just
I've
for me.
seen your views.
Yeah, yeah.
Don't be modest.
Yeah.
It's all me.
repeat.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Who's Dan? Who's Danny? Daniel?
You got to fake it till you make it.
Denise?
Mr. the Kirk.
Mr. Dan?
So,
Yeah, but there's not any
Yeah.
like particularly profound meaning or
No.
anything with it.
no.
It's just
And the,
We just
the
thought it
album
sounded quite
cover,
cool.
The album cover as well. Is that like some toilet or something?
at a gig
That was-
at a gig you put on.
Yeah, that was at the gig that you put on.
Is that an Esquires?
Yeah. It's an Esquires, and
You didn't write Local Distortion on the thing, did you?
no
Someone
No.
has. Someone vandalised the toilet.
vandalised,
Yeah.
enhanced.
Well, yeah. I mean, you should see that toilet. It's
Yeah.
It still wasn't us.
graffiti and shit. But someone did a screenshot recently and they're like, Local Distortion, you're in the men's bogs.
Look
I was
at
like,
that.
okay.
Yeah, winning.
It wasn't me, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll take it.
How much is it bad?
Oh, you can just polish that off. It's fine.
It's putting out a lot left.
Last time we did sort of a track by track commentary of the
Yep.
first album,
Mm-hmm.
which was very insightful. And if you want to go back and check that out, go check out the previous podcast. It's actually really fun. I actually really
Yeah.
enjoyed listening back to that.
If you've got an hour
It
to
is
kill,
Yeah, it's an
because,
hour long.
If you can put up with us
Like
talking
a
for an
car
hour.
journey or something.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
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 At a funeral, something you don't
Yeah,
like
yeah.
very much. Earbuds in, make the
That's
time
an
go.
ideal,
Make the
actually.
time go.
Yeah. Yeah.
Try not to chuckle mid-service.
Yeah.
You know, when they say he's an honourable man. It's not on us. It's not on us.
Ah.
So should we talk about every song on the new album?
Let's do it. I
Yeah.
can't. There's 14 songs then.
There are.
Well, they're pretty
longer.
short, so I'm guessing the explanations would be short as well. I'm
They're
guessing
going to be, yeah.
You have met us, right?
only once before.
Yeah, of course, anyway.
We're going to talk about that other time.
Right. Okay. Yeah, go
Let's
for
do
it.
it.
Cool. Right. Track 1. Get yourself a bad name.
Am I betraying
Yeah.
my class by drinking? Oh, it's Prosecco, it's fine.
Yeah, don't worry about it.
It's not
Prosecco.
We're
That-
class hero here.
Oh, that's what he likes to pretend. Get Yourself a Bad Name is about Brexit. It was
Yeah.
very current. It's got a shelf life, so we put it out first. Like, gave it to BBC Introducing first.
Hmm.
It was the first track to get played on BBC Radio, which was also quite surprising because of the lyrics. But
Yeah, that does surprise me
yeah,
a little bit.
it
But
got
then it
placed.
doesn't, because those
No.
guys kind of like
I love
really
it.
love you guys.
Got
Yeah.
played straight away, didn't it?
It
On
did.
the same
Yeah.
week that we submitted it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's basically Brexit.
You wrote the verses and I wrote the chorus.
Get Yourself a Bad Name. That was my dad.
No, I mean the whole verses you wrote.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
I didn't do any of that.
Yeah, yeah.
And the Muppets bit's me.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, the Muppets bit is Aaron.
But there's some other stuff in there as well. Sort of like
Yeah.
other subject matters that crop up.
Oh yeah, no, there is. It's not just. It's
It's
about.
a bit peacetimey again. It's sort of the left wing and right
Yeah,
wing thing.
it's a little bit of that. It's kind of about you know, a bit of religious. Oh man, this sounds really heavy. We're not.
Yeah.
We're quite good fun.
There's
There's
like
a bit of
couple
religious
lines. Yeah.
bigotry in there.
Yeah, yeah.
About stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, things like that. It's not. Yeah.
It's basically stuff that made the headlines. Like, if you read the headlines, they're basically the headlines.
Yeah, and they probably will be
Yeah,
for the next
and they
year
will
or
be,
two.
exactly.
Yeah.
Which
These
is great
headlines.
for us.
These ones.
These
Oh yeah, we
headlines.
haven't spoke about this. Why is this?
I
still
can't get
here?
out. Splendid.
Splendid. Thumbs up for testing. Yeah, lots of like hidden stuff on
Yeah,
here.
there is.
Obviously, this is from the music video that was actually filmed in this room
Yeah.
by me. Yeah, my brother helped a little bit.
What?
Yeah.
And yeah, we still had it lying around, so I just thought, fuck it, we'll
It's
just
awesome.
put it back up for.
I think we should. Well, I think we should start putting it up at our gigs.
I
Yeah.
reckon. Yeah, just a big backdrop behind you.
Get people to sign it
Yeah,
like a big
Yeah.
petition wall.
that'd be pretty good.
Yeah, that's why this is here. All right, track 2.
I love you, mum.
Track 2,
Yeah.
telephone screen.
Telephone screen.
This is one of probably the favourites, I reckon. Or this is one of your favourites, you said, didn't you?
Yeah, it was initially.
Now you
But I
hate it.
think,
Yeah.
Now you're like, what was I thinking? This is rubbish.
no, I think I've played it too much.
Yeah.
And now the other songs that I weren't playing so much because I was playing that too
Yeah,
much,
yeah.
I'm like, okay, I
Mm.
really like these other songs.
That's what
as
happened
well
to us. A
Yeah.
little bit.
Yeah, I hate us as well.
Yeah, yeah. I know. I like the songs that we don't sing or play on.
So other people's
Yeah,
songs.
yeah, exactly. You got it.
Yeah, no, telephone screen was basically it's kind of there's not a lot of hidden message there. It's pretty straightforward, isn't it? About just
Yeah.
people spending their lives doing that. I'm not saying I'm not guilty of doing that because we do that as well
Yeah,
a
yeah.
lot,
Yeah.
and it's kind
It's
of
kind of like it's kind of being forced into just everyday life now.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Yeah,
Just,
yeah.
You don't even think about it,
And
but you are doing it.
it's
Yeah.
and it's kind
It's
of
kind of scary, isn't it?
it is kind of scary. That's what the song's about. It's kind of like, you know, what are we doing? You know, what
Yeah.
you know, we're missing a lot of stuff that's going on around us by
Yeah.
doing that
Yeah.
every day.
I saw this
So-
really cool bit of art that someone did. I think it was in like an art museum or something.
Yeah.
And they had one of the old school telephones with the wire on, and it said the last time human race was free.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And I was like, fuck,
That's
man.
true.
It's kind of
That's
true.
deep.
I mean, it's
Yeah.
like it's
Yeah,
deep.
it's
I mean,
so
yeah. I mean,
it's true.
yeah, it is kind
In
of,
a
and
scary way.
it's yeah, and it's about just like it's not trying to be preachy. It's more like
No.
saying like this is what we're doing now, and it's and the chorus, like the refrain, is like why do you do it? You know, why do we do it to ourselves? Why do you do it
Yeah.
to yourselves? It's because
We're all doing it.
that is the question.
Like, yeah.
Why are we doing
Why
this?
are we
If you
doing
stop
it?
for 5 minutes and think, I spend 3 hours a day on this thing. If I
Mm.
just like turned it off for 5 minutes, then what
Yeah.
could I achieve? What could I
Yeah,
do?
yeah.
Could we write another song? Could
Yeah.
we, no, we've got to do something on Insta.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the
And that's
thing.
what it's come to.
It's become a huge thing with just bands culture in general. Like if you're in a band, you have to do that stuff. It's just
Yeah.
become like 80% of
I
what
was-
a band
I was-
is now.
I was quite anti all that sort of stuff at the start.
Yeah. And we still, to some extent, we are nowhere near as present online as some.
You're not as bad as
bands.
me with my daily
As
shit.
like this one, yeah.
If Lily posts something twice in a week, I get furious at her.
Yeah, he
I'm like,
does.
what are you doing?
Yeah, exactly. Aaron is in control of Instagram, basically.
Well, you say that.
You like everyone's Instagram stuff. I put the posts up, I'd say.
Yeah, we share Instagram and everything else is Lily.
Yeah. I think that the song is so like, yeah, why do we do it to ourselves? It's like everyone's got this online presence, but you go to a gig and they've got no one there.
Yeah.
It doesn't. It
Yeah,
doesn't add up.
yeah, we found that as well. We you know, because when we first met you, like it's almost a year ago.
Yeah.
And we'd done about 2 gigs and everything, and it's a bit daunting. And you look at it, and you think, God, these people have got like 10,000 followers, and then you go to one of their gigs, and it's like,
Yeah.
where are these
Where are
followers?
they? Yeah.
You know?
Or and painful.
Yeah, it's
yeah.
kind of weird.
Exactly.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
we've always tried to avoid all that, and you know,
We
and
don't do any sponsoring.
and
or anything
yeah,
like
we
that.
don't do sponsoring, and everything we do is just kind of like we just want it to be organic. If people
Yeah.
like us, that's cool. We like,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
we like that's, you know, and if we like other bands, we'll like them back, and
Yeah.
but we don't. Yeah, I don't know.
It's worked in our favour though, to be fair. It's worked in our favour. We know that we play a gig, we're going to get a crowd of people there who like what we're doing. No one's coming there because they think it's cool to be seen. Because it's not cool to be seen
Except
at
for
a
me.
Dolphins gig. Apart from Aaron.
That's
He's
what I
like,
say,
oh
I'm
yeah. Cool to be seen.
This is my ticket to cool right here. I'm gonna sit behind these drums and cash in my cool.
They're like
call.
animal.
Anyway,
Yeah, that's that song anyway.
that's that song.
Track 3.
Cocaine Carol.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's that about?
I'll rate this one.
Oh my god.
So, it's about Aaron when he was a woman.
And
Yeah.
took loads of drugs.
And yeah.
I thought we weren't going to discuss that tonight.
Oh yeah, we were. We actually said on the car. Yeah, fair. Okay, Cocaine Carol is about it's about a person actually,
Oh,
a
spit
real
it out,
life
Lily.
person. It's
Yeah.
about a real life person.
I think you told me about this,
I
and then
think
obviously you changed the name and stuff.
Yeah, change the name. It's about a real life person
Whoa.
Yeah.
who works for the government.
Whoa. Whoa.
But yeah, gets away with it all. It's sort of like a combination of different people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Name rhymes with Javid Bamron. I made that up.
But yeah, that's the gist. That's the gist of it.
And that's all you sing in that one, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's all Lily.
Cocaine Carol never does a line.
She had to go at her
always
own
does a
lyrics and
dozen.
everything on that one.
I
She did
know.
alright. She did alright.
And people love it.
Yeah. Your mum don't count.
Mum loves it. Okay.
I like that one.
Yeah.
That's one of my.
That's one of my
favourites.
favourites as well.
I like playing that one.
This one, Essex Kings. It's been around a while.
Yeah, we've been playing that for a while.
I played it live for quite a while.
Yeah. Yeah, gig you up.
Yeah, quite a lot of people like that one. It's about sort of being in bands when you're younger and having these big dreams, and you know, about like I don't know. It's kind of about when your dreams meet reality and the fight between that. It's, you know, without trying to sound too pretentious. It's kind of it's that basically, and it's you know, with everyone's got, you know, pure intentions at heart, and you know, want to do this stuff, and it means quite a lot to me, that song. Yeah, out of most of the stuff I've written, and like, I've been in like a band before and all that, and like sort of a couple of mates have come to the gigs who have been in bands with me, you know, before, and have been like, man, that song is that about us and all that.
It
It's like,
resonates.
kind of, yeah. It's not necessarily about me, but it's kind of about, you know, people that dream big and then kind of crash, and yeah, it's yeah.
Reminds me of like sort of like, you know, 15, 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Like, there was a bit more of a scene.
Yeah,
And there was more crowds, and that sort of thing could happen.
Yeah,
Maybe a bit.
yeah, but also it's
easier,
kind of
maybe?
saying it's not tragic. It is like if for one night you're
Yeah, yeah.
if you know
Yeah.
if for one
Yeah.
night you're a
Packed out.
star, if for one
Yeah.
night you've done it,
Yeah.
that's okay. You know, if you know that's enough. You know, it should be enough for most people.
Yeah, don't take
but
it for granted as well.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
Those,
it's
those little, you know,
yeah.
Moment.
those
It's
gigs.
definitely a party song at a gig.
I mean,
I feel
we
like I
play
can go mad.
we play it fast and loud and all
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
The lyrics are quite sort of reflective, but the song itself is straight out like just
Yeah.
you know
Just hit you in the
punk,
face. Yeah.
fast. You know, it's not.
Yeah.
You know, we're not going to do a ballad, but
Maybe
well,
like
yeah.
one day.
It kind of is though, in a way.
Yeah.
It sort of is. It's
Yeah.
it's
as
like
close as you'll get.
it's
to
a
one,
ba- it's mate.
probably.
It's like
Yeah,
a
it is.
it's like a ballad to a lost youth, but not a wasted youth. If you know what I
Yeah,
mean. It's like
yeah.
yeah.
Keep that bit in. Yeah.
That was gold.
That's a good one, isn't it? Like that last sentence. Cut out all the rest.
Yeah.
That's
just
the
have
one.
that.
Yeah,
and just
make
end.
it sound good. I
That's
sounded
the
nearly
bit.
poetic then,
Oh,
didn't
you
I?
did, didn't you? Yeah.
Yeah.
There we go. We took all of that to get to that.
Yeah.
That's it.
Byron Tennyson Smith.
Yeah, there we go.
Lions. Totally
Mm.
different subject.
We wrote this when we first started.
Yeah, this song actually predates a lot of the stuff on the first album,
Oh really?
Yeah.
Wow.
but we never had a chorus.
Mm.
So we had the verse
Mm.
Yeah.
and then just sort of busked through something in the chorus.
Yeah.
And it was only later on we revisited it
Mhm.
and then basically made up a chorus on the
Yeah.
spot just before a gig. And they were like, yes, play it. And
We've been playing that for a little while,
yeah.
haven't we now?
that
and
is basically, it's a list song of all things we disagree
like.
with, basically.
Yeah, disagree
Yeah.
with.
There's a bit of the classic sort of Horrible Dolphins nonsense in there. There's some stuff we feel really strongly about because of how it's mixed up with the song and all that. It's you know, we don't ever want to be like a band that like preaches at people because
Yeah.
that's a bit
But
boring.
people
isn't
listen.
it?
And you bring up like important topics.
Yeah,
Like you're
yeah.
not shoving it down people's
Yeah.
throats.
And we do that
Gotta
by
balance it.
having something, and then the next line's kind of throwaway. You know,
Yeah.
sort of like.
Yeah.
Definitely.
But the main thing that was written about is like because I wrote the sort of first line that sort of led
Yeah.
on from everything, and it was I don't know, it was some article that got shared or something. It was about like these complete dickheads that sort of like shoot these lions when they're asleep and call them big game hunters and everything, and it's like. What planet, you know, is that
Yeah,
acceptable? You know,
And they're like
so-
posting the selfies with
Yeah.
them.
exactly,
There's a
yeah,
lot of
social
yeah.
media
So it's
site.
like it's
Yeah.
really it's like the song,
It's messed
the
up.
main, you know, it's called Lions, and the main,
That's
the
where it
first
started,
line of
wasn't
it
it?
is like anti big game hunting.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like what's the point? You know, what's the point of shooting a giraffe? You know, it's,
Yeah. Yeah, what
you
you- yeah.
yeah. And then we just peppered it with loads of stuff
Yeah.
that's, you know,
I think we changed it a few times.
yeah.
I remember thinking of a few lines of mine to put in.
I think we made it less heavy as well
yeah.
because
Well,
it
you
was
added
going.
one about monkeys.
It was
monkeys with lasers for eyes.
Yeah.
yeah, fear.
I love that line.
Fear.
That's great.
Yeah.
Exactly, that's what I mean
Yeah.
about the Horrible Dolphins throwaway
Yeah.
crazy
Yeah, yeah.
stuff, and also some of the stuff that
Yeah,
does
proper
actually mean
topics.
things to us.
But then again, I sort of take that line as like, you know, animal testing, that sort of thing.
Yeah,
Fair play.
yeah. I mean,
It's
monkeys
like-
with lasers for eyes is like ridiculous, but
It's
Yeah.
not, is it?
yeah, you can
But it's
you
not
can
so
contextualise it.
ridiculous. Yeah, exactly.
yeah.
Like,
So yeah,
People like that song though as well live. It's quite a lively one, I think. It's
Yeah,
more,
yeah,
We play it for people.
not monkeys.
And monkeys.
I am monkeys.
Oh, sorry.
I am monkeys.
This one is probably my current favourite.
Bluer than Joni.
Journey.
It was originally called Bluer than Joni Mitchell.
Yeah.
Then when we were uploading it via our distribution company, it said you could not use a name of an artist in your song without their permission. So we're like,
We can't really ask Joni Mitchell.
I
Can we,
was
for
like,
permission?
would Joni
No.
Mitchell okay this? Probably not.
No.
So yeah, that's a song that again that's one that's been in our set for quite a while.
Yeah, that has.
Literally just after we finished the first album, we wrote that one,
Hmm.
and it's one of those ones you're like, oh man, I wish we'd written that to get it on that album. But
Yeah. That's been picked up though, isn't it? Recently, so that was played on Six Music last
Yeah.
weekend.
Mm.
yeah,
First one that's got to them, which is wicked, because that's what we
From the
hoped
new
for,
album.
wasn't it?
Yeah,
For the new
yeah.
album.
yeah. So that song is about. It's a bit about me. It's a bit about. Again, it's an observational song. It's saying like, you know, the high street shops are dying. It's a bit about, you know, my family and things. It's a bit about, you know, conservation.
There's a bit about me in there as well. The wow.
It's a bit, what is about Lily.
Wow, that was mine.
There's the line about Joni Mitchell says we're bluer than Joni Mitchell.
Yeah,
you know,
which is a
which
wicked
is like a play on words because she had her album Blue, and you know, it's
okay.
like yeah. So
I'd say that's probably one of the strongest ones. On
Yeah?
the album,
We love
I'd
playing
say.
it as well.
Yeah,
we love
I-
playing that one.
I think I agree. I think that's my
Yeah.
favourite one on the album.
Yeah, I don't know what it is.
I'm a
It's
fan.
just the perfect package of like
Yeah.
just you guys.
That song
Yeah.
as well,
Yeah.
from a technical point of view, is there's no cymbals on it at all. There's only a bass drum in the very last bit when Lily turns on her pog. The whole thing is just a floor tom and a snare from my point of view, and just a repetitive riff from Lily.
Yeah, I'm just.
And it's about how the vocal sort of weaves over that makes it kind of like hooky. And
yeah, it is really simple.
It is really simple.
But those are the best songs.
Yeah, definitely.
Sometimes.
Yeah, we need to be simpler.
That's what they said though on radio on Six Music, and when he compared us to some other artists as well.
Did he?
Yeah.
I didn't
But he sort of don't say that.
I didn't hear it yet.
Yeah.
Tom.
You did, but you forgot. You forgot.
Cut that bit.
You forgot. Yeah.
He won't watch this.
Yeah. Scrap all that.
He will.
Anyway, next song.
Next song.
Mandy. We spoke about this on the journey up, about how this came together. So it did just start with the chords and the drums.
What's the name though?
And then I wrote a song called Candy. But Aaron told me it was too American, so we had to change it to Mandy or Amanda.
Yeah, I was like...
I mean, Mandy is much more Essex.
Mandy is proper more
I was like, what are we singing to the American audience now?
And then the line about fruit machines, I kept saying slot machines, and he was like, you can't say that's American, man.
Fruit machines.
Yeah,
So
I get what
fruit
you mean.
machines, yeah.
It's basically
It's
a Friday night in a pub song. That.
Yeah.
It's kind
we
of
like that song as well, don't we?
Go out, have a couple of drinks.
Yeah.
Try not to get into a fight.
Yeah.
Put all your money from your week's wages in the fruit machine.
Yep, done.
Go home, try and forget about it.
Possibly my second favourite, or I don't know.
So
it's
Money.
kind of tied.
So Money.
So Money.
So Money. Yeah.
Damn, no
So Money was a weird one because there's barely any actual recognisable notes in that song.
No. I literally
Lily
hit
just
a
like
guitar.
hits her guitar for the whole
Really?
thing.
I
Yeah,
don't play any
there's no notes or
It
anything.
sounds so good.
It's just a
Chorus.
noise.
Yeah.
It's just a noise.
Yeah.
And
Kind of like that noise.
Yeah.
they
Oh,
come
wow,
across.
they're like copying our song.
So
So Money. Yeah. What?
yeah, and basically, so Lily was playing all this like great. It's a jam song, so it's like basically at band practice, Lily's got her amp ridiculously loud. We're just sort of like I'm drumming along to it, and then I just started making up lyrics. There's no way we could have written that like in our rooms and brought it to band practice because it's just like
Yeah, it wouldn't have.
it's weird.
That chorus.
It shouldn't. And the chorus when
chorus
it kicks in,
Wicked.
you turn the pog pedal on, and it's like
Yeah, it's just 3 notes.
3 notes.
Yeah.
Instead of none. So it goes from no notes to 3 notes.
But
Amazing.
yeah, and
So I played that to a few people, and they're just like, that chorus. Like,
Yeah.
how do you come up with that? It's just like.
what do you mean by the
just
chorus? Do you
baffled.
mean the money bit, or do you mean the actual bit where it kicks
the
in and it
whole
goes
Well,
like?
yeah, just everything. Like the whole credit card thing. It's just like people are just like.
Yeah.
That gets in people's head as well.
Yeah.
What a lot of money,
And it's
what a
just
lot
like,
of charge. Yeah.
yeah.
It's
So
quite it's a
goofy.
little bit controversial. Some of the lyrics, sort of in one of the verses, are a little bit controversial.
You think?
But I like that because I think it's the same with "Get Yourself a Bad Name."
Mm.
You sort of said the same about that song as I said about "So Money."
Yeah.
But I think if people know us and they know what we're singing about, they know that we're not.
So money's just
You
about
know.
people that get themselves in trouble
Yeah,
and can't
Yeah.
dig themselves out of
and
a
that is
hole.
the best way to
And
put
think their little card in their wallet is like some answer to their prayers, and they're just digging themselves deeper. It's like a little miniature plastic shovel.
That's a nice
It's
way to
like
put it,
basically
Yeah.
it. A miniature plastic shovel.
yeah, like a credit card
Aw.
plastic shovel,
Yeah.
digging your own
John likes that one.
digging your own grave.
Yeah.
Cheers, John.
This one's kind of is pretty serious. This one, Spare Some Change.
Spare Some Change is, I don't know. In parts, it's about my granddad, who's like an old soldier and all that, and a guy that worked down the mines in Birmingham, and about how basically people just get fucked over by, by circumstance, and you sort of put your heart into something, and or for a cause or whatever, and then you sort of come back home and nothing ever gets said, and there's no sort of awards and platitude. It's a bit of a different one for us. We've only ever played it live once,
Yeah.
and that was at a charity gig for homeless people. For musicians supporting the homeless, which is like a culture-based charity.
Yeah.
Which are really good. Check them out. Musicians supporting the homeless. I don't know, man. It's one
The
that's.
chorus is powerful.
It's angry, and
Yeah.
it's like.
Probably like your angriest vocals, but in one of your softest songs.
Yeah,
Definitely.
and it's the whole, the chorus, the refrain goes, they told him Britain owes you a debt, you know, they must keep that money because he hasn't seen none yet. It's about people who just, you know, are willing to sacrifice themselves for the idea of our country and everything, and then who are forgotten about, you know, the minute they come back from it. And that doesn't necessarily mean the Second World War that my granddad's involved in. It means all the conflicts and everything. And
but yeah, it's still relatable to this day.
And with the charity and stuff, with musicians supporting the homeless, it's a really high statistic of ex-servicemen that are homeless. So soldiers and things who come out and they can't adjust back to society, and it's kind of about that. It's about a lot of things. But
it's a really powerful song.
Yeah, it's one that I don't know if we will play much live because it's
not a live song.
It's too, you know.
You need everyone to like be quiet for it, otherwise it doesn't really come across the same.
I mean, it probably would quieten a room. Like
it worked when we played.
It did when we played. It, in fact, you know. Everyone was having a great time jumping around, and we played that, and it was like everyone was like, "Oh god." so maybe we won't play it live anymore.
Maybe not. Leave that one out.
Moving on, Horrible Dolphins Everywhere.
Amazing song. Best song on the album. Number 1.
A very stark contrast to the previous song, but
it is a very stark contrast to the previous song.
Yeah. I think that's another sort of. That was a decision that we made with the songs, really, wasn't it? We didn't put like the slow ones, not slow ones, the sort of more lighter ones at the end.
It's like his theme song.
It's about Timmy, isn't it? He swam out to sea, and then what did he see?
Horrible Dolphins Everywhere.
Yeah.
See, you're never going to forget that. And that was all that was about.
It's a ridiculous one.
Yeah. But it's well fun.
It's to bring people back into the, if they're a bit bummed out by spare some change.
Yeah.
It's like,
they're
not all like that. But yeah, it's ridiculous. There's nothing to say about it.
It's so good.
Yeah, thank you. It is.
It's okay. We'll probably play it live, won't we?
Yeah, we will eventually.
Yeah.
Have you not played it yet?
No,
we haven't played that one.
That's quite a new one as well, though. We've only sort of started playing that near the end of writing the album.
Yeah.
So
there's a few like that.
Yeah, and it's actually probably more complex than the other ones.
Complex.
I play like 4 notes in
Your
it, so
complex.
I play 4 notes, not 3.
Yeah.
So
wow.
I
4
know
notes.
it's a lot for me, isn't it?
But I only hit my snare.
Yeah.
In most of that sort of.
True.
Is that like your second shortest song you've got? It's pretty short, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, it's pretty short.
Repent's obviously first.
Repent's the
I
shortest
don't think that'll
one.
ever be beaten.
That won't be beaten.
I think Horrible Dolphins is second.
Yeah. It's got 2 choruses, Horrible Dolphins.
Yeah.
I mean,
they're like 5 seconds each.
basically a fully formed song. Really.
True.
Again, it's a great song, and
Yeah.
it definitely lifts the mood.
Yeah.
Say.
Yeah, that's the aim.
No Shoes. What's the situation?
No Shoes is kind of about the Beatles.
That's all it's
That's
about.
what
Not
it's
kind
about.
of about. It is about the Beatles.
I don't like
that's
it anymore.
No.
Yeah, not about the Beatles in any particular way. It's just
okay.
saying random shit about them. So it says, "What's the situation, John? Have you heard from the front line yet?" And that's because John Lennon was in a film called How I Won the War when he was in the Beatles. So that's what that means. What's the situation, Paul? Why are you wearing no shoes? Because Paul didn't have shoes on Abbey Road on the zebra crossing.
Yeah.
Situation,
the second
Richard.
verse. What's the situation, George? Can't you tune your own guitar? It's because when he joined the Beatles, before they went out to Hamburg, he was like 15 or something, and he didn't know what he was doing, and like Paul had to teach him how to tune a guitar and things.
That's a bit like us.
Yeah. What's the situation? Richard is Ringo Starr, because that's his real name, Richard Starkey, and it's
We didn't have anything to say.
didn't have anything to say about him because
There's nothing to say.
there's nothing to say. That's why the song stops there.
Yeah.
And then it repeats.
And then it repeats, and the chorus about wearing those shoes is about Paul again, and there's like a bit about the conspiracy, because there was a conspiracy that Paul McCartney died in the early 60s and was replaced by a double. And it's a well-known Beatles conspiracy, and that's singing about that. It's like, is it some sort of conspiracy? Did you die in 1963? Did you die in 1965? Did you die in 1966?
Wait.
Pick up stick. Then the last bit of that verse doesn't mean anything, and then it goes back to Paul's no shoes.
That's that song. We're glad you like it.
It's a fucking great song. Yeah.
It's another ridiculous one, but like we tend to play it last in our set now.
That's
don't
like
we?
an encore now.
It's sort of weirdly it's like
You're still getting those.
A couple of
encores.
people have asked for
yeah.
that.
So like when we've run out, we're like well, at the end of our set, I'm ready to die.
Yeah, I mean, because
Yeah.
when I saw you guys, you got an encore and you weren't even headlining, and I was like, what?
Yeah, that was pretty. That was
Yeah,
a really
that
cool
surprised
night,
us as
And I
well.
was like,
Yeah.
I was like, this shouldn't happen.
That was
Because
the
we were
first
like, we
encore.
were like, what are we gonna play? What did we play?
That was the first encore. That was Bad Name.
Was
that
it?
was the first time we ever
Oh,
played
okay.
Bad
So
Name.
basically,
Yeah.
a song we'd written about a week before.
Yeah, yeah. Literally, that's all we had,
Yeah.
pretty much, to
Yeah.
play.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But now we do no
But I don't think
shoots.
that's a very rare occurrence. But obviously, it happens all the time for you
It's
guys.
happened the
so-
last two as well.
Yeah, a few, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
But we play no shoes now because it's fun and everyone likes it.
yeah.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
it's,
It
again,
is,
it's
it
a bit
is,
of a
it is
party
good
song,
fun.
innit?
It's good fun to play. It's good fun to sort of,
Yeah,
yeah.
it is. It's a fun song.
Hold tight, Sydney.
Hold tight, Sydney.
This is one of my favourites on the album. Definitely. I had quite a few comments about this as well. Because it's very straightforward.
Yeah.
a straightforward song.
It's just basically, it's about it in a nutshell. It's about how people who have skinheads and braces doesn't necessarily mean they're horrible people.
That's it.
And so it's basically, you know, it's saying like, you know, Sydney's a skinhead, but not the bad kind.
He loves ska music.
He loves ska music and a bit of grime.
Yeah.
That's
it.
kind of like
Yeah.
that's the sentiment there. It's kind of about. I saw a T-shirt. It's written around a T-shirt. I saw a T-shirt up in like Brighton when I was in Brighton, and it said skinheads and braces don't mean racist.
Yeah.
So I was like,
yeah.
That's cool.
I get that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's braces.
Yeah.
But yeah, I get that, and it's like, you know, it got hijacked. There was like the suede heads and skinheads and that whole movement, which was really, you know, quite integrated with the Jamaican community and everything. It got hijacked by some, you know,
Yeah.
not very nice people. That whole image and everything about it. So it's kind of about it's just singing about that. It's about how like don't judge that person. you
Yeah,
know,
for how they look.
for how they look,
Yeah.
because they're, you know, and we've met them at our gigs. People have come up and stuff to us, you know, with like, you know, skins, tattoos, and everything and all that, and been the most liberal, lovely people you could
Yeah.
want to meet. You know, so it's like,
Exactly.
yeah. So it's kind of for them really,
Yeah.
and yeah, there's people like
Yeah.
that, and so, you know, just a little bit of a nod to say,
That's
Probably
it's
like
fun
your-
as well, isn't it?
Probably one of your like punkiest songs as
Yeah.
well.
it
I'd
is,
say.
yeah, it is punky. It is.
That's more like a Mandy song. Them two I quite like. I think they go together quite well.
Sydney and Mandy.
Yeah, Sydney and Mandy.
Should have called
That's cute,
it. Should have
isn't
called
it?
it Sid and Nancy.
Oh, Nancy! Can we change the names? Go back.
Get your boots on,
Nancy.
Nancy.
Oh, that's even better, isn't it?
So another slow one, Paris.
Paris. Yeah, Paris was again one that was written before the first album, and it's kind of one of those ones where you're writing loads of songs when you just get together, anything's viable, and we had an idea for it and then sort of left it
Left
and
it for ages.
and left it for ages. Then when we got called to do the BBC introducing session where we had to do acoustic, which we weren't that prepared for, we kind of resurrected it then and sort of built it up a bit and sort of got it good and rewrote it a little bit, and to play it on the BBC Essex introducing show. People listen to that and they're like, I really like that Paris song.
Yeah, people
know.
liked it.
So we're like, oh, really?
Yeah.
So, so then we just made the decision. We're like, you know, it's not. I don't think we're ever going to do anything like it quite again.
No,
really.
and we can't. We're not going to do it live. It's not
It was
exactly
recorded. It was
live,
recorded in the studio live. It's completely dry. There's no effects on it. There's no processing really, apart from a little bit of like compression right at the end.
It's
And
just a tiny little bit of guitar in there, and that's
That's
it.
it.
it
isn't
is. There's a little.
guitar.
There's a guitar that's
We sung
Lily's
together.
playing.
We
We
sung
sung
at the same
together at the
time.
same time.
It's all just it's live.
Yeah, it's live. It's the vocals are really, really dry, and we were like, let's just leave it. That's how it was. You know,
That's how we wrote it. So.
yeah.
Yeah, but it's another great song. With this album, I find it's just like you go from probably your most extreme to then your most just.
Yeah.
Different.
Yeah,
There's definitely,
held back
a
and
few people have said that.
restrained.
You know, we've had a couple of reviews and things, and said it's more a wider
Yeah,
sort
it's
of
one side of the
sweep
spectrum
of
to the other.
spectrum,
isn't it?
exactly. Whereas the first album was kind of like,
Yeah,
this
it
is
was
what we are.
just-
Everything was loud. Everything
Yeah.
was like,
Yeah.
let's try and kick him in the bollocks as hard as we can.
Every single time.
Whereas this time we sort of toned it down a little bit. There are some moments that are definitely heavier than the first album, but like you say, there's
Yeah.
There's the other extreme, isn't there?
Yeah, like Paris, which was we wouldn't even though we'd written it before the first album, we would never even contemplate.
But
putting
what I
that
mean
in
is like you could have just done the exact same thing with this album.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
could have just stayed in that sort of
Yeah,
safe
stayed in that
zone.
Yeah,
and people would have still loved it.
Yeah.
yeah,
But the songs you've put in really show like how diverse you can
Mhm.
be, even if you're just a two-piece.
yeah. Oh, cheers, man.
Because a lot of people or a lot of bands are in, just two pieces.
Mm-hmm.
They kind of always seem to stay in that.
Yeah, I know what
zone.
you mean. Yeah, yeah. They
But
kind of
it's
get
just
locked
like-
into something, don't they?
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like,
I'm not going to name names, but you can probably guess. And like,
God damn you, Royal Blood! You let us all down.
I mean, they're good songs, but it's just like
It's the same,
where's
isn't it? Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
where's
the
the
sort of
range? And like, you guys really push that as far as it can go. I think
Yeah.
with this album.
I think we do. We've pushed ourselves as far as we can go in terms of the extremes, haven't we?
Further, we can go further.
Further. We can go further. Should we just go a cappella?
Punk a cappella.
Punk a cappella.
You're gonna have to
New
like,
genre,
have
innit?
to have like guest spots next
Punkapella.
album for like a bassist or a violin
Well, yeah,
player or something.
maybe a violin. Yeah.
Yeah, I nearly. Oh man, on
Just a
Paris.
full-on orchestra.
Yeah, speaking of Paris, on Paris, there was you could easily put like a cello over that because
Yeah.
like,
Yeah,
I can
yeah.
hear it in my head when
I
I'm
know.
listening back to it. I was like, there's so much stuff you can.
Mm.
But then we said.
But then we
like,
just said no because
nah,
it's just the two of us,
Yeah.
and
that's it.
we're saying this now. Come album number 3, we're like, yeah, this is the orchestra. So, these
I think
guys.
that's something that we stick to. That's the main theme throughout both albums. That there's two of us. Everything we do, if we really wanted to, we could reproduce it live.
Yeah.
At the end of the day.
Yeah, exactly.
There's
yeah.
so many bands that do a record. They have loads of other instruments come in. No,
And so
they
many
don't do that.
layers.
Or layers,
and
yeah.
It just,
Yeah,
when
yeah.
They,
We
when
don't
they
put
play
layers
live,
on.
it's just-
No, there's one guitar on everything. I think
Yeah.
apart
Well,
from the last
yeah,
song that
yeah.
we're going to talk about.
Yeah.
last song for the weekend.
Weekend was the bane of my life when we recorded that, and I had to replay that guitar
Mm.
to get it right.
It's the only time I've ever had to do it like a fix in the studio because it's such a weird song because it's basically noise. Lily's just playing feedback and noise and everything.
Mm-hmm.
We had to overdub a couple of like a guitar basically playing some chords because otherwise it was
just squealing.
squealing. But how he wrote it. It's kind of how we wrote it. It's one of those weird ones. That's another jam song. We just wrote it together at practice. It came out of nowhere.
I'm literally playing a chord and then just moving the volume up and down, aren't I? And that's it.
Yeah, yeah.
Like there's no effect or anything on it.
Mm.
So when you play it live, it's great. It's great fun. But when it's recorded, it was just feedback in you.
It was quite harsh.
It was really
Yeah.
harsh,
So you'd
man.
listen to it and you're like,
You couldn't listen
this sounds
to
great. My ears are bleeding.
It. Yeah. It sounds great. No one's going to listen to us again.
Yeah, so we basically, there's the whole take done, but at a low level where all the high pitch stuff's going on and then just a guitar playing the chords
Yeah.
over
Yeah,
the
yeah.
top. That's the only time we've ever done overdubs and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And the song is crazy. It's
Yeah.
about a fight in town on like a Friday night. And then a guy who, when he stagger into the accident and emergency ward, he's just playing stuff through in his head that his mum basically always told him, this is what you're going to be, this is what you're going to amount to.
Mm.
And you think there's some redemption for him, but then by the end of the song, he's screwed basically because he's done something terrible. You don't quite know what. So so the first verse sets it up. He's been in a fight. He's dripping loads of claret, and he's staggering to accident and emergency, thinking about all this stuff. There's the refrain of like, I could live for the weekend if only it would live for me, basically, which is like kind of like a thing about the people who they just look forward to Friday nights and that's it in their life. The second verse is basically like not learning from your mistakes. So it's about like how he's, doing shots and stuff before he goes out and he's getting. And the third verse is like he's done something terrible this time and the police are knocking on his door on a Sunday morning, and he's, for want of a better word, he's fucked. So basically he's
Naughty boy.
he's in trouble, and the final refrain in the sort of after the heavy bit is basically like him in a cell writing letters to his mum who's gone past caring about him anymore, so he's got nothing. So he's saying, is it too late to write home, is it too late to send you flowers? And It's pretty dark. It's
Yeah.
it's one of our darkest songs.
It's autobiographical, so
It's
actually
not
written
autobiographical.
About, Aaron wrote about himself this one time.
I'm gonna give you a Chinese band. No, it's
You're more than a Chinese burn boy.
Don't anger the vein.
Yeah, what was the name?
What vein?
This one.
No, that's not vein. That's power. It's forearm power.
Power.
Yeah. Anyway, and
That's
then
the album.
we were gonna do
Yeah.
a secret track, and then we didn't.
Yeah. Or did we?
No one's found it yet.
It was recorded with Matt at Pioneer in Colchester again, so same as the first album.
Yep.
Wicked, like really straightforward with him.
Yeah.
We're pretty lucky to have that on the doorstep.
It was recorded in a day. It was mixed in 2 days,
Yeah, and then a third day for
and then a third day for a couple of fixes, and then
like weekend.
that was it.
Yeah, pretty damn good.
Album number 3 next
Yeah,
week.
and we've been talking to other bands. They're like, yeah, "We did a single. It took us like 4 days." Like, what are you doing?
That time.
What the hell are you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get your money's
People
worth.
spend a lot
We did
of
14
They do,
songs in
yeah.
2 days.
money. Yeah, yeah.
It's very easy to overcomplicate things. And I think
Exactly.
that's
That's it.
something you
That's
never
it.
seem to do. Is just
No,
you're just like, no.
we
That's
don't have
it.
the skills
That's how
to
it is.
overcomplicate it.
Yeah,
And because it's
That's
raw,
it.
I think it
Yeah.
captures the emotion of whatever you're doing. If it's a silly song, if it's a serious
Yeah.
song, because it's just raw, one take.
Mhm.
That's it.
yeah,
Definitely.
You've captured that. Then
yeah.
you're not overlaying it and all that kind of stuff.
That's right. Yeah, yeah.
If
No.
you're singing it over and over, you're going to lose meaning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
'Cause you're just, you're
And we
gonna forget
and we
what you're
keep
singing
it
about.
and we capture it while it's fresh. We tend to write up to the point of going in the studio, so
Yeah.
anything's viable. So literally,
Mhm.
like the week before we go in, if we've written something cool on the Sunday night and we're going in next Saturday, that'll go on the
It'll go on
album.
the album.
Yeah.
Because we're like,
That's
we
what
like
happened.
that. I want to do a third album now.
Yeah. Next.
Well, that's what you guys were saying. You were just like, oh yeah, we've done the second one, but we've got all these new songs now.
We have
Yeah,
we have
we've got
new
quite a few new
to be
songs.
honest, Yeah.
They're
They're a little bit different.
yeah,
They are different.
they are different.
They're punky, like
Yeah,
definitely straightforward punk.
you think?
I know we're not using genres, are we? Just
No.
straightforward.
It's just
Straightforward
horrible
music.
dolphins.
Straightforward dolphin music.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like whale music, but not. But dolphins. Have you got any other questions for us, Daniel?
No.
Good.
Do we need to plug anything else? I don't think we do.
Peacetime Riots music video on YouTube.
Oh yeah, go check
Check it
that
out.
out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just
Numbers.
type in Horrible Dolphins YouTube, and it's. I think
Yeah,
it's.
yeah, it'll come up. But
Just type in Horrible Dolphins.
Yeah,
It's
I
the first thing that comes
I
up.
think it's number one. I need
Yeah.
a whiz.
alright, we'll let you go for a piss first.
I have literally drunk the whole thing of that.
Jesus.
Oh, wow. It'll be a fun journey home.
Alright. Thanks guys.
Thanks, Dan.
Thank you very
See
much,
you
Dan.
again
Thanks, Local
next year.
Distortion. Next year.
Thank you.
Yeah, next year.
It's been emotional.
Cheers. Maybe this year. We might have a new album out next month. Oh, that's what we wanted to drop, didn't we? We wanted to plug that tonight.
What, new
What?
A
album?
new album next month.
Huh?
Huh? We haven't written it yet, but it's going to be one. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was totally ready.
That would
Yeah.
not surprise me.
Nah, definitely.
Alright. Thanks guys.
Cheers.
Cheers, Dan.
Bye. People watching.
Bye, Mum.
Bye, Dan.
Just me.
This is just for when Dan watches it back.
Yeah.